been a day of shock and grief for the people who loved BJ Giannone. The high school senior was competing at a varsity swim meet Monday night when he suddenly collapsed on the pool deck and died.
And he finished and he was sitting next to me for a little bit and he was saying, oh, I feel all right, like, just a little lightheaded. And then I went up for my race and then I turned around and he was face down on the ground.
BJ's girlfriend, a nationally ranked swimmer from Fanwood, was one of the first people to get the news.
I was kind of waiting to wake up from this nightmare because BJ'd be the last person I talked to before I went to sleep, but he'd always be the first, he'd text me as soon as he woke up in the morning and be like, good morning, beautiful, or something like that. And I would talk to him literally every second of every day besides practice. And I've grown so dependent on him. We were so dependent on each other. And I don't really know what to do.
Students at St. Peter's Prep were still reeling when they met Tuesday morning for memorial mass. BJ's closest friends said he was a huge presence in the school, full of life, determination, and kindness.
He just had a very positive outlook on life. He was always joking around. He was always very happy. I never knew BJ to have, a bad day. So.
If a dad got to pick his daughter's boyfriend, I couldn't have picked someone better than BJ. And of course, Caitlin wasn't going to pick him. I had nothing to do with it. but he was...
Above all, people remembered BJ's lust for laughter, his unstoppable quoting of Will Ferrell movies, his brotherly ribbing of Caitlin's friends and siblings, and his founding of the so-called Society of Comedic Appreciation.
Said that it's almost like a bipolar event because one second we will be hysterically crying and the next we'll be laughing because we can just think of something about BJ and it'll make us so happy. When we're crying, I just say to Caitlin, if BJ was watching us right now, he would be laughing.
We had a sports hypnotist come into the team this year, worked with the seniors, and just talked about leadership, what kind of leader do you want to be? And even when he was hypnotized, he was laughing. And I said after to the guy, have you ever experienced anything like that before? And he said, no, but you can tell, I guess, certain parts of people's personalities when they're hypnotized, and what a sense of humor this guy has.
BJ and Caitlin were that high school couple. The couple who never seemed to get over how lucky they were to find each other.
Everyone just knew Caitlin around prep because of BJ, and they'd be oh, that's BJ's girl, and just because of how much BJ was so in love with her.
We all make fun of them.
Yeah, we always make fun saying that they're way too cute and that we're totally jealous.
He was my best friend. He was my boyfriend. I couldn't ask for anything more, and he was just the best person in my life. And I just hope that I never took him for granted because, I love him so much, and I just really hope he knew that. And
We gathered as a team last night, and I said, listen, I'm going to live every day now that I have in the way that BJ would have lived his, because, if I can do in whatever time I have left with what he did in 18 years and the way he lived and the man he chose to be, we'll all have lived good lives if we can do that.
I can't stress enough to people how he was just so unique and what a special kid he was. It probably sounds crazy the way, going on about somebody else's kid like that, but he was just an amazing kid, and I'm so glad that he was part of my daughter's life, and he was part of our lives. We were real lucky we had a year with BJ. It was definitely a good experience.